Every daughter has a father, but not every daughter has a daddy. In Savannah, Georgia, 6 women will tell you their stories. The Fatherless Daughters of Savannah, Georgia.
My name is Shaka, and I'm a fatherless daughter. Memories with my father that I remember, he loved his daughters. I remember he used to have a store on Waters Avenue. We would always go there constantly. We used to like sing and dance on top of his little counter and everything. Like he loved us a lot. I remember even when I was in kindergarten, for Valentine's Day, he brought me and my 2 sisters a teddy bear, a necklace, and perfume and little things to our school. And I always remember that. And I was like, oh my God, because a lot of people just looked at us like, oh, he loves his daughters because you came out there and showed us what a man is supposed to, how a man is supposed to treat a woman, special on days such as like Valentine's Day. And that's something that I've always remember about my father, always. My dad, pretty much like, I remember us going and meeting like with our other little brothers and sisters. It's not too much I remember my dad because my dad and my mom wasn't together, but I do remember him taking care of us. I do remember people coming over bringing us clothes from my mom to choose out of. I do remember things my daddy did for us. He wasn't there all the time physically, but he showed for it when he wasn't. So my dad committed suicide 2 weeks before Christmas. I was 9 years old. I remember one morning, on a Sunday morning, my mom got me and my sisters up ready for church. We thought we was getting ready for church. Next thing I know, we just sitting down, eating our little breakfast that she cooked or whatever. And when she set us in the living room, she was like, hey, you guys, y'all daddy killed himself and he killed y'all baby brother mom. So I'm sitting here looking like, what? And I just remember like my whole world just like caving in because like that's my daddy. Like that's my daddy. I'm his twin. And I just felt like, okay, why would he kill himself? Like, wait, he didn't love us enough to stay there with us. And suicide was something that I've never understood until I got older. I remember me being in high school, if people asked me what about your daddy? I would used to tell people my daddy died of cancer. I used to be ashamed to tell people that my dad committed suicide because I've always thought that it was because of us. And I had to learn that suicide is not about it's not about the people. It's about that person, the mental illness that they're going through. And I had to understand that my dad had a mental illness that he was dealing with. And I mean, I'm okay with it now, but it still to this day kind of affects me because that's my dad. It's times like I just sit back and I do think about my dad, and when I think about my dad, I just cry because I feel like I knew my life would have been totally different than what it is now. I just know that just certain things that I struggle with now, I would never have to struggle with. Just in the simple fact of anything, if it's school-wise, if I need tuition for this or money for this, I knew my daddy would have us covered. I always knew that my daddy had our back. Even dealing with my choice of men and sometimes that I deal with, I feel like you don't truly know your worth if you don't have your father there. So I felt like I would choose men that wasn't too much good for me. But I had to learn to know my self-worth and know that, Shaka, you're worth more than what you think you are to these men. So therefore, I felt like if I had a really, really good relationship with my father, that probably would have been a lot different. It wouldn't have took me to 26 to understand that. I don't visit my father's grave often. The last time I probably visited his grave was probably 8-9 years ago. I don't too much. It's something that I don't too much try to deal with that much. Because it's like I really don't try to deal with it because it's the reality of seeing his name on a casket tag marker. That's something that I just think, okay, no. And that kind of would make me feel some type of way, like, nah, I feel some type of way. So, yeah. I do. I feel like I'm a very strong person, so I push emotions and feelings to the back, and that's something that kind of I have to kind of deal with. I'm the type of person I put all everything I'm carrying on me, I push it back, and that's something. Even with my father, I push that whole thing to the back of my head. I don't try too much to think about it because it'll make me sad. Because I love my father, and my father was always there for us, and that's the only man who I really truly knew. I feel bad that my father committed suicide for him more so because I remember when I was young, one of my mom's friends, her mother made a statement that said that if someone kills themselves in the Bible, that means you go to hell. And that was something that always stuck in my head because I was little. I didn't know that suicide, that's eternal hell. Like, let's just be real about it. And I kind of feel more sad about him because it's like you couldn't find another outlet to do besides killing my baby brother's mother and yourself. Like, and I feel sad for my brother, to be honest, because he has no one, and I see the pain that he goes through by not having a mother or a father. So it's just like I feel sad for both of them, my father and my brother. So. I do have a relationship with my little brother, but it's not what I want it to be. He doesn't stay in Savannah with us, so it's kind of hard to do a relationship. But I'm kind of glad because we have a relationship through Facebook. We talk to each other all the time. We can be able to see what's going on with each other's lives through Facebook. So that's something that I'm kind of grateful for because I never knew the hurt he had until I seen the things he wrote on Facebook, and that kind of makes me want to be drawn closer to my brother because I never knew he hurt this bad how he did. I didn't know the decision of my father truly hurt him how it hurt us. It didn't hurt us as bad as it hurt my brother, and that's something that I never want anybody to feel. How I celebrate Father's Day, to be honest, I don't. I don't. I just look at it as another regular day. I may think about my father. I remember this Father's Day that passed recently. I didn't go to his grave or anything. I just kind of sat and I thought about it and I cried to myself and I kind of got over it. It's just something that I kind of don't deal with. That I just see it as a regular day. It's something that I just know. I I am open to getting counseling for my issues with my childhood history with my father. I've actually done counseling before. My mother put me in counseling when I was in the fifth grade because I was acting out terribly after my father died, and no one seemed to be able to pinpoint what was the issue that I was dealing with. And by me going and speaking to somebody besides my parents, besides my mom, I was able to kind of get an understanding more so of how do you deal with your anger, because I had anger built up in me, and my anger turned into me lashing out and being disrespectful and being bad at school. And I mean, I'm more so open up for counseling. Yes. A hustler. That's one where I could always describe my father. He was always a hustler, and that mentality and that mindset he has is always in me. So. My hustle is pretty much I do anything that, like, I sell food. If it's like baking cupcakes, baking devil crabs, I have a hustle in anything. Like I have no problem. I can flip a dollar and make it 20. So nothing, like any and everything. I have a blog site called Young Black Socialite I'm working on that's going to be the next best thing popping. It's better than me to take on a Boston combined. I'm your hood journalist. Holla at me. Holla at your girl. So, that's what my next thing is to pop off with YBS. Young Black Socialite. Look at it. It's coming here and it's coming soon. So look out, world. I have my little baby. His name is Josiah. He has completely changed my life. I did not truly understand that I was not living life. I just felt like I was just out here just doing me, doing Shaka, but it's more than just you. And once I had my baby, I understood that this is what my world concerns about my baby. And I'm just so grateful to be able to have the opportunity to be a mother to the world's best son. I love my baby. He's handsome, adorable, cute. Ladies, so watch out. Yes. Josiah KJ, yes. My son is not a fatherless son. That's something that I strive not to ever put my son through. Even if me and his father aren't on good terms, I would never ever take that male presence away from my child. I have a son. It's only so much I can do as a female that I can teach my son. So therefore, he's gonna always have that male presence around, regardless of the simple fact. So he would never be a fatherless son. I'm gonna most definitely keep it real with my son. I'm not never gonna sugarcoat anything. Like my father has done his dirt. My father has had his demons, and my son would know that. But I would teach my son those things of my father to not be, because like I said, we all have little traits of our family in us, from our mother to our father. So therefore, I want my child to know that that's something that you don't do. If it's abusing women, if it's hitting on women, if it's you killing somebody, anything, I would never allow my son to do what my father did. But at the same time, my son would know that your grandfather was a great man. Your grandfather had more than one store. Your grandfather owned he owned realty. So I want him to know who my father was. My father murdered someone, and I felt like that was not the right thing to do. That was a selfish decision. You should never take the life of someone, because my father took my baby brother's mother from him, so now he has no one at all, and I feel like that's never right. And I never condone murder, suicide, and domestic violence. I never stand for it. But I still love my father to this day. I would never take away the man that he was, and he was a great man and a great father. So I would never take that away from my father.
The Fatherless Daughters of America, Savannah, Georgia, is brought to you by McDaniel Consulting and Counseling, Healing a Hurting World, Spotlight Theaters, Kroger, Keystone Productions, Gullah Daughters of Purpose, The Cupcake Parlor, Rubies and Pearls Events, Yankee Graphic Designs, The Mediterranean Tavern and Bar, Dream Hair Extensions, Friday Morning Fire with D. White, The Germain Group.
My name is Desiree, and I'm a fatherless daughter. My childhood memories, it was a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, a lot of sorrow. Finding out my father possibly could not be my father. I was about 7 years old when I found out. It wasn't really confirmed, more talked about until I was about 10 or 12. My memories with my father was great in the beginning, but later on it fell off. Don't know why. I was never explained why, because I was never told that my father wasn't my father directly. It was overheard. So it's like still a secret because nobody never told me. No, actually, my father's family raised me. I was taken from my mother at a young age, which left my father's aunt to raise me. I kept a relationship with my mother and also my father, but without both of them raising me. My father would sometimes come get me. A lot of times his girlfriend would come get me when he was unable to, because at that time when I was younger, my father was incarcerated. I would say about the first time my father was incarcerated, I was about 4-5 years old. He came home. We still had our relationship, but during that time, his girlfriend stepped up and did a lot with me. And then that's when a lot of things went downhill. The closer that they bonded, the more our relationship faded. As a daughter and me and my father's relationship fading, it just made me unable to trust, unable to love, unable to be me. Because if I couldn't depend on nobody else, who was I left to depend on? Well, being an athlete, being involved in school, being a student, that school was all I loved. That was my love. And sports was my second love. So not seeing my father there, it was hard. Not really. I wouldn't say I was teased, because the image I portrayed in school and how I walked around, no one would ever know my pain or my story. They would never figure that I was brought up in a broken home, that I was broken, but nobody would ever be able to see, because in school they saw the jolly, smiling Desiree, but behind that smile was hurt, pain, unhappiness, abandonment, along with just wasn't happy with herself and the person that she was, trying to figure out, who am I? I never was really told a story about my father. I overheard a story. And that story was basically two grown-ups talking and a child overhearing a mistake as grown-ups we make on a daily basis. And I overheard them talking and discussing the fact that they found out that my father had done a DNA test on me one day after picking me up on an early release day. No one felt the need to discuss it with me, but once I started expressing my feelings about it and letting people know that I knew, people spoke with me about it like calmly, like someone really sat down and explained to me what was going on in my life, which I never had an understanding. I never knew what was really going on. I just knew what I overheard. I didn't know the meaning. I didn't know what it was, because in my eyes, that was my father. I would say at the age of 6, I felt fatherless, because I had already at 6 years old dealt with things people twice my age had not experienced. I was molested at the very first time at 4 years old. As years progressed, I was molested for about 4 to 5 years by someone else. But because I felt like I owed my family, I dealt with it. Due to the circumstances in the situation, I thought that if I would say something, it would cause a major conflict and my family would suffer from it. It was a family member that molested me at the age of 4. Also, it was another close relative that molested me for 4 years continuously. No, I never told my father about it because I didn't feel like he protected me, so it was really no need to tell him. Why tell him when he wasn't there? One word to describe the word father to me. It's hard to even come up with a word to describe it because I don't know what a father is, what a father is supposed to do. I don't know a father's job. Yes, I do believe that I still need my father. Because my children are fatherless young men in a society where they already have 3 strikes against them. 1, because they're African American. 2, because they are men. And 3, they're being raised by a single mother. I would tell my father today that I'm hurt because there were people in my life that I expected to let me down. And because I expected for them to let me down, it didn't hurt me. But my father, it wasn't expected. As far as the DNA test, I've never seen it. You know you're going to be loved. Being the mother, you know you have someone in your corner. Being a mother, you know when you are hoping that somebody holds you and hoping that somebody encourage you and hoping that somebody come and sweep you off your feet. Those little boys do just that without me asking, without me telling them anything. My boys are my support system. They teach me a lot. There's days when I'm down and I don't even show my children. And my youngest son, he has this thing where he would just walk up and he just constantly give me kiss after kiss after kiss after kiss. My oldest son will walk in the room and say, "Mommy, I just want you to know I love you." And I was like, "Baby, I love you too." Being a parent to me is sacrifice, because as a parent you make many sacrifices. It teaches you that you can actually do something for somebody else instead of yourself and not feel regretful, not feel like you're being used, not feeling like you're being abused. A lot of times it makes me happy, but sometimes it makes me angry. because it makes you question, why couldn't my parents, why couldn't my father give me this love? How was I fortunate to be able to give my children love that I was never given? This year, I plan to learn how to forgive more, be more open, be more available. And when I say available is because I'm very close in. I don't express myself a lot. I deal with things alone. I'm a very loner when it comes to my life. I feel uncomfortable when I'm around men because I don't know what to expect. I don't feel like I can tell them no and I have to be belittled. I have to be emotionally or physically or verbally abused by them because they don't like the response that I give when they approach me. I don't feel comfortable around men because of my father. One thing I would like to say to my father is, despite him not being there, I still have abundance of love for him. And because of that love, a lot of times I'm angry. I'm angry because I love somebody so much that wasn't there for me. And when I want to walk away and not love, I can't. And so when I do love somebody in a relationship, I block them out like I have been with him because I feel like my father blocked me out. And it hurts.
Fatherless Daughters of America, Savannah, Georgia. Sponsored in part by Career Prep, Sheer Concepts Salon. If you would like to share your story on the show, find Fatherless Daughters of America on Facebook or email fatherlessdaugghtertv@gmail.com.